Hi.
We're not there yet.
Oh.
Try inviting them.
You know what? You should put your it on the rest of holding it. You should put it on your cell phone stand.
A second. Oh, he's invited already.
Mm.
Oscar's watching. All of them. Approve. Let's see what I add. Oh, cool. Oscar might be going live too. That'll be pretty cool. I don't know why this is not. I did. I sent the invite. I'm trying to get you and Amy.
Okay, there you go.
I'm trying to get Amy here too, if it'll let me.
Okay, I just gotta put in this on my thingy here, my stand. Okay, can you
I
hear me?
think, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
I think Amy
so
got the invite, but I don't see her on here.
Put it on the stand. Put
We,
it on
we
there.
got,
oh,
we got,
it's only two people.
okay. I don't have that. Why is it going this way?
Your hands in the way.
There we go. My hand's in the way.
Uh, what you can do is you can get on the computer and then share it to all your pages. Like you can share it to Milo Mystics.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Amy, if you
exactly.
can share it to Milo Mystics, I appreciate that.
I shared it to my page, and it
Like
should
if you
be.
want, yeah.
I shared it to
Well,
my
anyways,
inclusion group.
Okay,
okay.
now we're here.
So the reason why I want to do this video with you guys is to share a little bit of espiritismo, since Bree, you being a sansista, and um, Mauricio, you being a santero, that
Right,
practice santeria.
right.
So I got two great people here that's going to share their knowledge along with me on Mesa Blanca, Espiritismo, what we call the family altar. Because I've been getting a lot of question, what's the function of the family altar and what's or the Mesa Blanca, la boda espiritual. But before we begin, why don't we share some information about you, Mauricio, or you, Bree, ladies first, I guess, your
Yeah, let's go
practices.
Bree first.
So what I do is mediumship with the dead. Um, we do seances. They're Afro-Latin. We call espiritismo. I do more cruzado, so I add more African, etc. elements into what happens spiritualism of say late 1800s, 1900s mixed. So we do that. There's ancestral veneration. There's spirit guides, and I'm a Sancista, so that's comes through more Puerto Rican than because Cuban Mesa Blanca, the ancestor altar is very similar, but um, and I guess we borrow, but so Sanse has more voodoo starts coming through as well. So it's two traditions in one. In Sanse is the Spiritismo and voodoo, basically is what I do. And
And
yeah, go ahead.
you guys work with the 21 divisions as well, right? La 21 divisiones.
A lot of the spirits are very alike, and they are our parent traditions. Our lineage comes off Dominican, the 21 divisions to Puerto Rico. So there are parent lineage, but there are some differences. But a lot of the spirits, a lot of the Loas are the same, and some of them are more saint based, and some of them are also spiritualists as well. So there are a lot of similarities. Hmm.
And so it's La Corte de los Indios, like including the Taínos and
Hmm. Yeah.
also you guys work with the Congos, for example, like Tomasa, Tomas, Francisca,
Hmm.
Francisco,
um,
yeah.
as well, right?
Yeah, so they're spirit guides. Not everybody has them. There's all different types of spirit guides, gypsies, Congos, Indians, Middle Eastern, Asian, culturally,
Marineros, yeah.
or by, like you can say profession, like doctors, sailors. And
Okay.
yeah,
All right. So now we heard a little bit about Bree. So this is like a little interview here I'm doing. I'm gonna make you guys famous. Now, Mauricio, I see you're Eclecticism. You want to
Right.
tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, I don't want to go too much into it, but I mean, like, just to break it down, it's like the tradition found me, not me finding it, pretty
right.
much, right? Which usually is the case for most people. For me, it was more like I was sick, but it was a spiritual matter. To later on find out that I was a medium. Like they told me I was a mediano unidad. I don't know how you really translate that to English, but
Medium.
it's like you're a medium, but it's usually a medium that has like a very like high resonance of communication. It's very clear with clarity, I find, with the
True.
spirits, more so than just a regular Joe Blow medium down the block, right? And for me, it was like I saw a lot of things. I was really shocked because, like in Western culture, I really used to all these things that happen in the African traditions. And I'm like, well, I'm like, this is kind of freaky, but I see a lot of beauty behind this. And it just piqued my interest. I started studying for many years what I could find on the internet, just grasping everything to then, you know, deciding that maybe I will deal with people who are in the States to go find a house of Ocha. And of course, with that, there's a Spiritismo. And the thing was, when I was in Cuba, they always put a very huge emphasis on the Mesa Spiritual,
The
the
white
Bovada, the
table.
white table.
Yeah.
And I remember one instance there was a spirit that came through that mountain who was like who he considered to be like my padrino de ocha and everything. He was also a palero. He mounted a spirit, and the spirit was like, I live in one of your glasses of water, you know, on your bovada.
Yeah.
And he was like, and he came in like very strong. And this is like when I was like 16, 17. And for me, like being told like I'm a medium dad, I'm like, spirits? Me listening to spirits? Me seeing spirits? I'm like, you crazy. And then like all of a sudden it was like a light switch turned on. I started seeing all these spirits after they told me that I was a medium. It got to such a point that I felt like I had to shut it off because I was like literally being attacked. I had to heal myself, like energy work and stuff. That I basically asked for the gift to be taken away. Now it's to the point that it's like I have like a switch to be able to hear them when I want to hear them and vice versa. Sometimes I can see a little bit, but not really that much. But I'm still trying to develop and to break what I put in place, praying to have the gift more like open ended. Because I would prefer to have it
Hmm.
like if a spirit comes to me and goes like, "Hey, Mauricio," I want to be able to be like, "Okay, I'm noticing it's a spirit talking to me." But a lot of it is for me if I am doing something like connecting to someone's spirit guides or talking to one of my spirits, they will show me visions, they will talk to me, they will tell me things. But it's more of I put myself to be open. I'm not 100% open, I would say.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if Amy's there because I can see since you guys are the host, I can't see.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if she's sharing it to Mellow Mystics. I also want to
I see
share it
her.
to Cauldron of the Black Flame if she could share it because I
For
can't
sure.
share it. But anyways, yeah. So that's great. And what makes me happy is seeing two Anglos or two well Canadians or what we say here Americans or whites practicing a religion. You know that it's totally nothing to do with your ancestries, but if you do have that Congo in there, and that's amazing. That's why I tell, the people that come to me, it's like you don't have to be African American. You don't have to be, from Angola, Nigeria, Congo to practice this religions. It's open to anybody because espiritismo. You can also, in my opinion, you can add your ancestors to it. You can practice,
Yeah.
like you said, Mesa Blanca, and then
Mhm.
add, your Mayans and your Aztecs in there, which will be part of your corte.
Mhm.
Um, you can be Asian and add Buddha in there and add whatever your parents or your ancestors
Mhm.
believed in. So this is not just an African-based tradition. I mean, it comes from it. It got very famous up there, especially with Allan Kardec and all those stuff when he came out. Madame Blavatsky, I think that's how you pronounce her name.
Mm-hmm.
Madame Blavatsky. I can't pronounce her name. She made a big movement on this, in the sense. But anyways, what I wanna, get involved is telling people why. What are the things that a spiritual altar, a mesa blanca, boda espiritual, like ancestors altar should have.
Mm-hmm.
It's three of us giving our opinions. Now, the Cuban tradition is one thing. The Sansista way is another thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, I practice a little bit of everything, and I add my answers to it.
Mm-hmm.
But in your opinion, what are the main things that a mesa espiritual, mesa blanca should have in it?
Let you go.
Well, it sets a time and a place for communication with them and helps strengthen them and give healing to your genetic line, because they say in DNA is made of light and it records memories, traumatic memories from your ancestors, the humans you don't know, going back to the beginning of time, and it helps heal those patterns that you might have in your ancestral line, which is going to help you. You're dependent on each other, so they're slightly, I guess I would say, more dependent on us. That's arguable, but
Okay.
we both, it's like a chain of hands helping each other up, helping us do what our life path is supposed to be and be in alignment. So we can have better things in our life and work on ourselves, get good advice about what we're supposed to do, ease our anxieties, help cleanse ourselves, negative vibrations, give you peace, filter negative energies.
Hmm.
So the water glasses help filter a lot of negative energies. Um, Protection.
Okay.
That's what I'd say.
So, in my opinion, and what I've been taught, in my different houses and monanzos and different spiritual practices, that in order for you to start a mesa, basically you need the one in the center, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And then you need your glasses around. Now, some houses, I don't know how your houses do it. Some houses do it six, seven, five. Depends on how
Mm-hmm.
many main spiritual guides you have. Am I right or am I wrong? You correct me if I'm not.
Yeah, you're right. Originally, people say there was only one water glass, or some don't even work with water glass, but we work with water glasses. And then it depends on how well you know your spiritual frame. So you could set up three.
Hmm.
You could set up one main one, as always the biggest one for God, or you share, and then you could have
Hmm.
one for your maternal and your paternal family line, good helping ancestors on your left and your right. If you've had investigation, if you go to misas traditionally, it's a community practice of, you could say, like a panel of mediums who start looking into your spirits, and they're sort of gatekeepers to keep the bad energies out. And so you start receiving messages, and oh, I have a gypsy, so I'm going to set this glass for my gypsy. Depends on your spiritual frame. People that
Hmm.
more in Ocha, I know if you're like, a child of Ashun, a child of Oya, that might depend on if you have nine glasses. If you have a lot of spirits coming to you, you elevate a lot of spirits, you might have nine. Um, and then it's
Hmm.
just by house. Like with my house, we have
No.
one big one, nine small ones. And Maurizio's house, they don't count the big one, so they would have eight smaller ones. But he considers he has nine, even though he has nine water glass. I consider I have only nine glasses, even though I have 10 glasses. So it just kind of depends on also your frame and your lineage. And
Okay.
yeah, and what you're doing with the glasses, because later in time, the formations came about of defense, elevation.
Yes.
So then you might want the
Yes.
more glasses. Um, so for now, I just keep one, but my house is the arrangement, like I said. So there's no right and wrong way. There's just there is a way to follow, I guess you can say, though, right?
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah.
And for those asking, traditionally, when you start your mesa, your spiritual altar, you want to start it on the floor. Um, and every day you elevate it. Like on the second day you'll elevate it, and the third day you elevate it until you get to the seventh day where you're gonna transfer it to your table. Because the reason behind that is, as you elevate your spiritual altar, you're elevating yourself.
Exactly.
So that's the way I was taught in my tradition. I don't know about you guys, because I see a lot of people, they just say, oh, well, just put your spiritual altar there and then just put it on the table and that's it. They never elevated it.
That's what they taught
So
me
I think
too.
that's something.
I just straight up set it
You
up,
know,
when I was like, okay, but they had a formation that I always kept seeing. It looked almost like two rows plus the main fronte in the middle, which I don't understand like what that formation's supposed to be about. I've just always seen that like it's like an M shape, right?
It's just more
Um,
mhm.
open. It's just more open because if you have the water glasses arranged around in a circle around the main big one, it's protective, but you might not find like you get that much spirits entering in. Does it make sense? Like you have an
yeah,
open hall that can come in versus
Mhm.
like more protective ring
but I just
around.
don't understand like why have it that way rather than like the shape like this where it's open, not the spearhead, but like the other open.
Oh,
Like
like
it
a
looks,
horseshoe, you mean?
what I'm saying? Like
I think it's the
I
same.
don't see a difference,
I think it's the
like
same as a
as to
horseshoe,
why.
yeah, in my opinion.
Well, the arrangements, from what I was told, is like forma de ataque, attacking form, like if you're
Hmm.
attacking somebody. Because a lot of people don't understand. You can do a lot of brujeria in these tables. There's a secrets that are
True.
not given. But I'm not going to get into that detail. Um, but you have the horseshoe, you have the arrowhead, the form way I have it, which represents me in the center, and the
Hmm.
rest are the guys that are protecting me.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I'm in a circle. For example, if somebody throws at me, one of this glass is gonna bust. It's gonna explode.
Hmm.
And that's letting me know something's up, and for me to get my stuff together, start doing cleansing my area.
Hmm.
And then you have the ones where that you put them all together like this in a straight line.
Right.
There are different forms, there are different ways you can work your altar. But I think that will be like another video.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Somebody who's interested in learning. Well, my main thing is how to start one. And for example, a lot of people at the end of the week, they'll throw this water away without knowing that this water is holy.
Right.
You can do cleansings with the water. You can drink the water. You can do spiritual baths with the water. Not to only you, but for people, you can do protection with the water. You can
Hmm.
put somebody's picture inside the water to protect them as well with that
Hmm.
spirit that this glass is dedicated to. You know, but there's a lot of mysteries on that on the mesa. Then it goes where people ask me, well, I'm not Catholic. Do I have to have the Cristo? Do I have to have the Christ in there? No, if you want to have something else in there, if you don't, then that's fine.
Hmm.
Whatever you think about it. This is not religion, it's a practice, in my way of seeing things. If you're Jewish, if you're Muslim, and if you're Asian, you don't want to have the Christ, you want to have the Buddha in there. Whatever fancies you. I mean, I don't know what you guys think about that. You want to share someone?
I'm partial to using the cross, but I'm also not dogmatic, and I just view it as it's all coded in symbols of why we're using certain things. Um,
Hmm.
it's not because you're Catholic and you want to do Christian prayers necessarily, even though um, in a lot of these cultures there is a high percentage of people who are Catholic. Guess you could say I come from a Catholic background, but I don't use it like it's something Catholic, I guess you could say, right? It's like the world tree, it's like a palo, it's a big stick, it's a crossroads, it's so many things. But if you're not
Yeah.
comfortable with it, then you don't have to use it. No.
Yeah, I use it because I have a lot of my ancestor relatives, like from my grandma or
Hmm.
my grandfather, they were Catholics,
Hmm.
big Catholics. So that's why I use it. It also, I add a little bit of that instance of my eguns or my muertos in there, because I use them a lot when I'm doing like healing, spiritual protection, or when somebody comes here to do a healing, I will invoke their ancestors in my mesa and help have their ancestors help them with a cleansing, with the type of job they want.
Hmm.
Normally, how you practice Santeria, I practice Mayombe,
Hmm.
Palo. And I tell people, in order for you to be a great palero, in order for you to be a great Santero, you have to be a great Spiritista.
I
It's
agree.
true. Yeah.
You, you can do the
Hmm.
same thing that you can do with the Orisha or an Empungo with a glass of water.
Hmm.
You know,
Mhm.
if you're a great Spiritista, and you develop those spiritual gift mediumship, um, that's all you need instead of initiating all these different religions. And back again, like you said, the tradition. For example, I have a gypsy, a gitana,
It's
which she is
beautiful.
right
Very beautiful.
there. There she is.
Mhm.
And that was in my my corte, so that's why I use tarot cards, And I also use
Mhm.
shells, which are done there to do divination. I do divination in the mesa. I work with her.
Mhm.
Um, but a lot of people also could have a Congo spirit,
Yeah.
that it's added to that spiritual table. And it's like I was talking to someone on YouTube that is homosexual, so they were told they can't work palo. Well,
Mhm.
through Mesa Espiritual, Mesa Blanca, they could with
Mhm.
spiritual cauldron. Yes, it's not gonna scratch anybody, but they could work directly through that Congo spirit with that cauldron. A lot of people that
Mhm.
can't afford to initiate into Ocha, well, you can have a spiritual legua and work your mesa till you have the money for initiation. So
Right.
Right.
what is your intake on that? I mean, you guys are a lot knowledgeable, so that's why I added you here so you can share
So are
your
you. So
knowledge.
are you. I mean,
Um,
as long as you get guidance, I mean, that's what it's a start. And there's a lot of other Congo traditions besides Palo too,
it's
that people
true.
haven't even heard
Mhm.
about, you know. And I have a Congo, so yeah.
Yeah. So now you can still work with him
Hmm.
through Mesa, I guess, through your sensei. I mean, not necessarily do you have to work with him on your caldero, your prenda, your enganga, your fundamento, but you can work through it through here, through that spirit.
It's true. I found
There's
like
a lot of things that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
honestly, like I found like when I would play a lot of like the espiritismo songs that are related to like Elegua, but it's not. But it's like
Yeah.
Lanita Tocha, and I get that music playing. And I start singing the songs, and I work on my spiritual Elegua, or I have my Elegua. Like phenomena would start happening. Um,
Because you had a spiritual Elegua before
but
you received
I
Elegua.
had at one
Yeah.
point like never a spiritual Elegua. I just had like the actual Elegua. Then situations happened and stuff. But then I created the spiritual Elegua that it's recognized in the Ebo de Entrada that it's like, hey, you have to continue turning to this to life, and it came up in an actual De Lagoon reading, so no one can tell me that energy does not exist. I've heard stories of people have had like spiritual leguas, and the padrino was like, oh, you don't need that now that you have a regular legua, just bury it in the cemetery. And they would bury like the spiritual legua in the cemetery, and all this misfortune came to them. And then they were told in the misa they had to unbury the spiritual legua. And then when they did that, everything got rectified, and that energy is still very real, you know?
Well.
Yeah, well, my spiritual legua has done a lot more things than my real legua, my real echu. I'm not
Mm,
saying that my echu doesn't work, but when I go up to my little spiritual legua, that little dude works. You know, he does amazing things. When opening roads and stuff. Sometimes I'm in a lot of vine, and he comes and like, I see him coming up here. He's like, "I'll take care of it. What you need."
right,
But you know, to a certain point. A lot of people think, well, if you guys know all this stuff, why aren't you guys rich? Well, they give us enough to be humble.
right,
um,
To
yeah.
but
survive.
anyways,
So
just
I just want
you
to
know,
Yeah.
I just
use
want to
your
bring up
powers.
something that Raven's talking
Just
about.
want to
She's
address that.
talking
Yeah.
about I guess the mixture of how we have a spiritism with everything, but yet she does some pagan practices, and I guess you could say a mixture of Palo and Santeria. But I understand that she doesn't have any ceremonies done, and I guess she's just looking for guidance how that all fits in together. But she also has a Native American background. She's saying.
Well,
Well, as an
go ahead, Carlos.
well, I'll let Bree handle this.
Um,
She's
well, it's just these practices, like it looks like we're being eclectic, but we're really not because you don't choose these things like I'm going to choose this and this and this. It's like it's part of your frame and you're working through the dead. You're not actually fully doing those full practices unless you're fully in them. So there are limits. It's not, we don't just mix everything together. It just kind of looks eclectic from the outside. So we don't mix Santeria Palo and pagan practices. They're, when you do one thing, you're doing one thing. When you're doing something else, you're doing something else. It just looks eclectic because it's just little pieces of our spiritual frame of what we have and we as working through the dead. It's not sometimes necessarily the Orisha themselves, but maybe like a dead priestess of Oshun. You know, she's an Africana, she's a spirit guide in spiritual court, and then people don't really know what they're looking at to see the difference, to see the
So if
sorry,
that
we had a phone call.
a phone call,
We're back.
um, I also want to say like having somebody have the guidance of
Guidance, yeah.
their spiritual court helps as well, and we do that. Even we do it by distance, even though it'd be better to do it in person. We still get the legit transmissions from your spirit court and your guides and everything.
Okay.
Because like if I get information for someone that like, oh, I think, you know, like a Shun's really around you, or there's a spirit that has her type of energy, and if I really think I should point someone in that direction, I will refer them. I'm not going to take the place of an Ocha or a priest or an Ifa priest because that's not my place. So I'm just like, I'm careful. I'm really clear about that line in guiding someone, you know, because I'm not in that tradition, you know.
I guess the best thing we can tell you,
Oh,
Raven, since you're seeing your pull to this, is just to work with your Bovada, which we can give you guidance on how to do that, and then it's gonna evolve from there, you know.
Right.
um, basically, you know, a lot of people get confused with this. You know, they think that espiritismo, ocha, palo, and ifa is one tradition, which in
Mm-hmm.
reality is not. It's four different traditions
Right.
that they're practicing. It's just the practices are not the bad ones. It's the people who practice them that are the bad ones that misinform people a lot, unfortunately. And they say, well, you know, a lot of people out there are just out there for the money. You know, I seen Oluos, Babalaos trying to do scratching, and I get in arguments with them because, you know, I tell them you're not allowed to scratch. The one who determines who's going to scratch is the Nganga. You know, it's not even the Tata, it's the Nganga who, you know, the Prenda who decides if it's going to scratch or not, you know.
Right.
Um, Palau or Luz now, Babalaos are taking the blade and starting to scratch people under the Parabo sign, which I think that's ridiculous, you know. Um, very, very ridiculous. But to
Mhm.
practice espiritismo, you can practice your espiritismo. You can make your bóveda and add your ancestor culture in there. If you're American, you know, you want to add a little bit of that mountain practice. I'm starting a little bit of the mountain people and the practices, which is like a form of hoodoo. I don't know if you guys heard of that.
Mhm.
The appellation
Uh,
or something or what?
yes, it's like a little form of hoodoo, which is very, very, very nice. You know, they use patipembas doing everything. It's more like an American Indian practice mixed with European, like with Wicca, which is it's nice. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Um,
Like
but
Bella.
yes, you can almost like it, yeah. But you remember the altar, the Mesa Blanca, about culture. Not necessarily you have to have a Congo, be a Cuban, Puerto Rican, African to practice this. This is just espiritismo is what it's called. It's, you know,
You work
being
with
a
your spirit.
spiritist.
Yeah, you work with your spirits. Everybody has spirits. You work with your spirits. And it's a very
Yeah,
humanist practice of light and evolution, evolution of human, evolution of your personality as a person. That's for everybody. That's for
yeah.
everybody. So,
And there, you know, I want to clear something off. There's no sacrifice done in an
right.
altar.
Right.
So, you know, for all those who ask me, can I take a rooster and sacrifice in my altar? No. You know,
No.
um, it's what is called Mesa Blanca white table. You know, table is supposed to be white, pure, pure energy, white energy. Yes, there are some secrets that you can do to you know, use a lot of do a lot of bad things in it, you know. But like I said, that will be another video or a course on that. You know, you can use the rosaries and say it backwards and really mess somebody up. You can use tierra de cementerio on it and work with that spirit and mess somebody up really bad. Just like you can help, you can you know, do damage too. Mostly, I use the Boeda Blanca, the Mesa Blanca, to do cleansing, and
Mm.
it works real good for me. It helps me a lot. Um, but the energies in it, I don't know how you guys feel. Like when I sit down and I start, say El Santísimos, and I start singing, corre el agua, mi, and I start singing all those stuff, I start feeling like I'm being pulled, like it's a magnet,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
I'm being pulled. My body starts rocking back and forth, back and forth. I start doing sideways. I start doing this, like I'm going around, you know. And it's very the energy is very strong. The vision starts, And the more I sing, you know, the more I pray, the stronger it gets. To boom, I'm gone, and I mount fast. And usually I'll mount, my Congo, I'll mount, I mount a lot my Mayan and American Indian that I work with a lot.
Mhm.
Um, and when he comes out strong. Um, and when you practice this, you're gonna feel it. It pulls you in.
Yeah.
Even, do a test. Put an apple in there on your altar, and then put an apple on your kitchen. You'll see that the apple on the altar will last like 4 or 5 months, and you can still eat it.
Mhm.
It's still fresh. Go to the one in your kitchen table. It's rotten. So
True.
that lets you know there's energy there.
There's signs.
There's something there. Yes. You drink that water and you'll feel amazing. You can pray over the water because every
Mhm.
day you're praying on it. I mean, I was told I could pray every day. Females, when they're on
Mhm.
their monthly visitor, that they're told to stay away. But I don't know about that, but that's what I was told.
Mhm.
Because it's disrespectful to the eguns or to your ancestor. But I mean, it's part of nature. I don't see how it could be disrespectful, but I was told that. Um, so yes, I mean, I don't know if you guys have experienced that. What I'm talking about, that pulling, like when it pulls you and you feel like you're going tunnel vision when you're on top of your boiler.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tradition for mediums, and that doesn't mean you're just psychic. It means, for the most part, physical mediums, like getting mounted by spirits. It's very, you feel it in your body. So even if you could dream or see spirits before, a lot of people come to Misa and they start feeling physical symptoms. So it is a physical thing in the tradition, definitely. I'd say more than like a new age medium saying, "Yes, I'm talking to so and so." It's like, no, you actually feel
Mm.
pressures. Um, and that's why it's good to know how to sort of shut that down, because if you're by yourself and you're new and you're studying Boveda, you could get mounted or start feeling these things. And, you know, no use to be by yourself because then you can't necessarily pass messages, although there's levels to it, or just for your own safety, I guess.
Now, for all of you who are watching this, or you're gonna watch this video, mountain for us is being possessed.
Right.
Possessed spirit. A lot of people is like, what's mountain? So
Mhm.
it's being possessed by a certain ancestor, a certain deity, a certain spirit that you work with in that mesa.
Mhm.
Now, let's talk a little bit about how you find out who your spiritual guides are. Who wants to answer that first?
When that's up.
I would feel like it's more of a visa investigation, to be honest, or it can
So
be
what's a
a
misa?
non.
Can you explain?
Well, misa is pretty much like translates to mass. So for me, it's like it's a spiritual mass, almost like a séance with a group of mediums doing the white table. But it doesn't have to be in that regard. So you could go to a medium who's drawn themselves in a different setting, and they could tell you information as well. I find it doesn't have to be like strictly, like one size fits all or whatever. It has to be the Mesa Blanca. But usually it's a bunch of experienced trained mediums, I feel, that sit around, that they focus, they do the seance, pretty much the Misa of investigation. It's strictly for that individual to get the information about their spirit guides, their spirit court, their ancestors, how they work, how they want to be prayed, the practices, what are the tools or let's say like the weapons that these spirits work with to protect and defend you, to rather bring in certain things or take away certain things don't serve you of your best interest, all that kind of stuff.
Nowadays, like we do readings by distance, but I also caution this is not like the most traditional way. And over time, you're gonna have to confirm for yourself whether that spirit's there or not, because um, I've heard of other people who have done spiritual investigations. I'm like, well, they're on it because I saw the same exact spirits, like that you have them. They're obviously there because I see them and they see them. Just up now, it's time for you to communicate and work with them and make that link stronger. And that's what the investigation
Mm,
does, is gives you like ways to make that relationship or that link stronger. You know.
okay. So basically, to go deeper in the investigation, basically it's a ceremony down, like Mauricio says, a mass
Mm-hmm.
where you are being seated in the center, and the spiritistas or the mediums are around you, like a circle. And then you have your altar there. Before everything starts, everybody goes to the altar. Taps on it 3 times, go ahead and wipes themselves down with the water that we make. And then after that, the person who's doing the misa will sit down in the chair. They will put a candle there to give them light, luz y progreso. They go ahead and surround them with a circle, and they start singing. They start doing, most of the time, Catholic prayers. And then after they're done, they turn off the lights, and then boom, they go into telling you, well, I see you that you have a gypsy. And the gypsy is like this. They'll describe the gypsy, and normally there's somebody else writing that information
Yeah.
down,
Yeah.
and they'll tell you, like Mauricio says, what that's the gypsy works with, what's her colors, and they'll tell you, well, you have Legba that is working with you, or you have this Lua that's working with you, you have this herb, that's working with you. Now, if you have an herb, that means that you're pretty good in astrology. Okay, you have a gypsy, you could be really good in tarot readings, hand reading, palmistry, basically in reading. You can also have, like I said, a Congo. Most of the time will be Francisca. We go Mama Francisca, or a Tomasa, or a Tomasa Congo.
Mm-hmm.
If you are Mexican, for an example, you're gonna have an Aztec. But just because you're Mexican doesn't mean that you cannot have a Congo. If you're Central American, you're
Mm-hmm.
Mayan, then you're gonna have a Mayan. You're Puerto Rican, then you're gonna have a Taino. You can work with the Taino court. You're Dominican, they might say, well, you can work with a Misterio and stuff like that. It's just very, but just because you're an American doesn't mean that you won't have a Congo. That's why it's called an investigation, because they sit down and basically they'll investigate what spirits are the one that is around you and that are trying to work with you, trying to communicate with you. Am
Mm-hmm.
I on the point? Did I
Yes,
get a little bit?
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know. And then after you do your misa and stuff, if you haven't been in this, then you will set up your altar,
Mm-hmm.
and you can set it up ahead of time. But now that you know what spirits you work with, now you can dedicate a cup to one of those each spirit.
Mm-hmm.
You can be saying, well, this cup is for my gypsy, my gitana. This cup is for my Arab. This cup is for my Congo. The center one represents you and the divine spirit, your guardian angel, and then you will say the other cup over there will represent my lion, my animal spirit, whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. I had people that actually have dark spirits, or in their cuadro
Right.
espiritual, what we will call demons, but I mean I call them ancient gods, but other people have call them demons. That will work with that, and you set up a glass for them, but I would take it away from the table and add its own little
Mm-hmm.
glass somewhere else and its own little altar, because you don't want to mix those energies.
Mm-hmm.
You can also have one outside that represents La Luna, that represents the moon at night, and at night you can charge it. So
Mm-hmm.
there's many things that you can do with that. Um, Now, what are the things that you guys charge on your altar? Would
The
charge? Like not
crystals.
charge money, but
Yeah.
like, yeah, crystals, yeah. Uh-huh.
Crystals,
Crystals, the
yeah.
divination tools, oils that I use during divination that I anoint myself with. What else I got up there?
Cards.
Yeah, just the
usually.
divination tools, the book of prayers, because it's like bibliomancy, spirits speak through the book. And just it's just reading material for them to educate themselves. Yeah.
Which one?
That's right, the
So
Kardec
yeah,
book.
some people keep a Bible, book as any different book of prayers that are applicable to you.
That's right.
Yeah,
Nice.
because it's kind of like reading material in a waiting room for them. You can put reading material. Um, I mean, you can charge all sorts of things. A protective necklace that you want to wear, the Fëanor. Yeah. So like if you have a Azabache necklace or you have a crystal necklace, you can charge it and wear it for protection. Um, there are tools that you use with them. So say you use a fan for cleansing that one of your spirits uses, or protection, or say my gypsy has bangles, and that keeps away negative energy when I wear it. Yeah, herbs, medicines. Um,
Hmm.
just depends on what your spirits work with. For yeah, stuff that you're gonna work with them with
Stuff like, let's say arrowheads for like native Indios,
for
right? For
protection.
protection,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. All depends what they want.
Yeah.
They
So
can tell you really simple things to do with certain things, and you just do it, and it's very effective. Question is, being an old spirit myself, if in an investigation, can you have a person who is a family be your main spirit guide? That's interesting because I've heard that that's possible because I have a Gitana who is a family member, and I was told that she's a spirit guide. So I don't know if that's a controversy or what, but she comes very strong as a main spirit guide for me.
I think it's possible, but
yes.
also probably overemphasized, because I think they could lose a lot of their identity possibly in becoming like a cultural icon, or being so elevated that they're beyond an ancestor at that point. They've become another
What
level
was
almost,
what
you know?
what was what was the question again?
Can an ancestor be your main spirit guide?
In my opinion, your ancestor can, but like you said, Bree, there will be more high elevated spirit
Yeah.
than when they were alive. For example, my girlfriend has her grandma who came back, but she came back in the form of a gypsy, in the
Mm-hmm.
form of a gitana. But it's when I saw her, it was purely her grandma, meaning her grandma's face in there. But it could have came back like on a spiritual guy form, but still her grandma, but on a higher level of spirit. For example, I work personally in my altar. My grandma is in there, and I work with my grandma a lot. And when I call upon that old lady, she resolves for me fast. you know, and I make sure her cup is always filled. The other ones, I'm like, but my grandma's cup always filled.
Absolutely.
Because yes, you could have, in my experience, you could have family members in that mesa, in that altar, that could be your spiritual guides. They come back here to try to help you advance,
Mm-hmm.
help their family members advance to the next level, spiritual level, or guide them for a certain reason and for a while, and then they'll go ahead and move on. But they could come back and help you, guide you for a few years, a few months, to that you reach that point, and then there's like, my job is done. I'm gone.
But
You can have,
a main spirit
yeah,
guide, would be there your entire life, would they not? Usually,
yeah.
I
Yes.
mean,
Our main spirit guy will be there. Like, for example, you can have somebody who is a doctor spirit guide, and all of a sudden, if something happens, you're in the mall, somebody goes down, and you start doing surgery on them, and you don't know how the hell you're
yeah.
doing that, and that's because your spiritual guy is the one that's guiding you doing to do that.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden you start playing a piano and you don't know how the hell you learn how to play piano. Well, it's because you have a spirit guide that's guiding you to your hands to play that piano. All of a sudden you started doing witchcraft and learning this. Well, you might have a bruja, you might have a weekend in your thing. You all of a sudden you just this great thing awaken you, that you want to practice with crystals, you want to do tarot cards, you want to do palm readings. Then you have a gitana in your spiritual altar. You know,
It's kind of chicken and the
the
egg,
more
like,
you awaken,
yeah. kind of chicken and the egg. Like maybe you decide to go into the profession and become a doctor, and then you attract doctor spirits to help you in your work. Or was it really a spirit that channeled you into being a doctor that you have?
Hmm.
Who knows? Right?
Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
it's weird. I have a friend, she's Filipino, and she's doing like weekend, I think it's called Greenwich, but she's Filipino, but something attracted her to that culture.
Hmm.
So it might be that she has something with that.
A main spirit guide is elevated, so that does take time. Like we tell children little lies that grandma is an angel now. Well, grandma might not necessarily be an angel because they're usually moral people in your life. You'd probably have a good relationship with them, or maybe they died before you're even born. So
Hmm.
if they're just, I'd say like an average person, they're not likely, I mean, because your main spirit guide, you incarnate with them as well. So how could your grandma be your main spirit guide if you were already born? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
they died, your grandma died when you're 20. How could they be your main spirit guide now? I'd say they're not.
Okay.
Um,
Hmm.
because it takes time, like they almost become like a your main spirit guide is almost like a guardian angel. It's almost like having a Loa in a way.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Loa or become elevated dead, right? It's kind of the same idea, I would say.
Hmm.
So it takes
Hmm.
time,
So
duration,
yes,
moral.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So before we finish here, I want to go on and explain what I have here real quick on my table, and then you guys could share yours if you want.
Hmm.
But I have a gypsy, so I have a doll that represents a gypsy, which is the one you're seeing right
Hmm.
now. So then I also have an Indian, and it's an
Hmm.
American Indian, which is a healer. That's where I consider myself real good at healing. So I have that statue there that represents the Indio. Okay. Now back there, I have a little bit of rum, because I do offer them some rum, some wine.
Hmm.
The little bottle that you see back there is Florida water, um,
Hmm.
which can never be missing from your altar. I use this like crazy. So Florida water is something real good that you want to use in your altar. Then that black bottle that you see there is like Bree said, is oil that I charge. When somebody comes in pain, I charge the oil to be like a healing oil, and I have that in a black bottle so the sun won't get in it and won't ruin it. Then I have the little fan back there, which just represents my gitana too, is an abanico. So when I mount her, yes, I act all gayish and shit, but still, that's my gitana. She'll act all girly, so I'll come out all flirty. Doesn't mean that I am, but hey, it's part of this religion. Then I also work with Baba Luayes and Lazarus, San Lazarus. So you see him there too. Um, then back here, like Bree said, I have the different books that we'll use. I'll have some cigarettes that I smoke for them when I'm here. Now
Hmm.
my gitana likes a lot expensive stuff, expensive perfumes that I keep for her. Um, Back here, I have 5 glasses. I have 6, but the other one is dedicated to something else. So back
Hmm.
here, like you say, you can charge your tarot cards, and I do ask them questions. So I will use seashells to do divination with them, like regular seashells. Doesn't have to be curry shells. I use regular seashells to
Nice.
ask them.
Nice.
And then, of course, I always charge my cascarilla. A lot of people
Yes.
is like, what the hell is cascarilla? I keep hearing about cascarilla and I don't understand what the hell cascarilla is. So I'm going to show you what cascarilla is. So for those that are in Houston and don't know where to find cascarilla, I got this at Pixies. There you go.
There we go.
So hers is out. So there you go. La cascarilla, we do sigils with it. We could do symbols with it. We could do it to cleanse ourselves with it. We could do it on spiritual bath, cascarilla. Basically, what it is grind the eggshell powder. Okay. So then I will have magnets. I'll charge my magnets in there when I do a lot of love spells and stuff. Yes, I do those. Yeah. Not for me, clients. That's the bread and butter. That's the bread and butter. So it's always we call it mesa blanca because you want to keep it on a white cloth. Basically, everything is white. Now, I used to have my siete sayas
Mm.
at the bottom. But my dogs lift their legs up and start, doing their little nasty things on it and pee all over them. They
Uh-huh.
think they're allowed to pee in it, so I take them off. And I only put it when I have clients in here. you know, Not traditional. Sometimes I will grab a Santa Muerte and I'll stick a Santa Muerte in there too. She is the spirit of death, and I work with a Santa Muerte too, so I will add a Santa Muerte in there sometimes when I feel that I need that little extra kick. But like I said, normally it takes 7 days. You start, for example, on a Monday on the floor, and then you do your prayers, whatever you want to pray, and you ask them to lift your spirits. You want to do your songs. Normally you find songs on YouTube on espiritismo if you want to do the espiritismo way. 7 días con 7 noches por el mundo caminando y no encuentro una limosna para mí, viejo babalúa, yeah. That kind of espiritismo songs. Um, and then on the second day, you raise it up. The third day, the same thing. And, you want to do white baths. Mauricio could probably give you a good white bath recipe. You want to do white baths for those 7 days. I tell people, please stay away from having sexual relationships because you want to become purity. Be pure for those 7 days. Not with anybody or yourself. So stay pure for those 7 days. And then on the seventh day, you basically transfer everything to the table. So how do you stack them up? How do you move the cups? Well, you put bricks, you put books, whatever you can to lift it up for 7 days. Even if you just move it an inch, half an inch, it doesn't matter as long as you lift them. And on the seventh day, you will transfer your altar to the table. And
Mhm.
once you sit on that, you'll feel that pull. You'll feel that energy calling you. You'll be up in the altar because you'll start hearing things. Most of the times is first it starts with voices. You'll feel that tingling sensation, like your skin goes into like little goosebumps. Because you're gonna start feeling the spirits. Because of course you're opening a door. You're opening a
Mhm.
portal. And when you start praying, you open the portal. And when you finish praying, you want to close the portal. Because if you leave it open, anything could jump out of that.
Right.
Just a warning. Um, but yes, you do white bath. So Mauricio, I think is pretty good since he's son of a Watala,
Right.
just like me. But I don't have Ocha down. I don't want to mess with Ocha. So I like my little palo thing. I'm a palero. So go ahead.
Yeah, you could do
You
like
want?
from the floor to a chair to your kitchen table, counter, table to kitchen counter, up on top of your fridge. You could do that. Just move it up in your house, up in elevation if you don't have bricks or books, or you could do that. As long as you're going low up to high.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
guys got a lot of kendo back there. What is all that? Oh, I see
Oh,
your
that's all
osum
our
back there too.
herbs and
all
candles
our
and
herbs are
books,
candles, all our good
etc.
stuff, our books.
So yeah, I only keep one cup currently on my altar as well, like Eric Cologne saying historically. It's just easier for me to clean if you have a lot of like chemicals in your water or have a lot of lime scale to clean them out. It's just easier for me just to use one glass. Um,
Mm.
like we covered lineages earlier, but just to make sure, like, yeah, this is working with the dead and with your dead, but it's not. I would arguably say it's not. It's not what people think of in terms of necromancy or paganism or black magic. This is like light, light and spiritual progress mainly is a tradition of that basically. And I'm glad you brought up the water cup outside because there are more traditional African shrines, like with the Palo de Muerto, the Egan stick. It can be kept in a corner, yes, in a house, like in the bathroom, etc. But some people keep it outside, and that's more the type of altar that people would do animals and blood with, not on the Mesa Blanca as well.
Yeah, the teja and el palo. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Can you use a shot
yeah.
glass? You could, but it'd be harder to scry things in there and read the bubbles and stuff because you can read the bubbles in the water glasses just like you can read a candle. But yeah, you could use a shot glass. That's all you had. You could.
Now, what are you guys? That you touched a good thing there. The to know the level of energy, you go through the bubbles.
Just where they're at sometimes can tell me different things. Just kind of like reading an egg lympia. Like you can, if they say if the bubbles are big, They're like the big bubbles at like the base of the water glass. That could indicate more negative spirits. If it's fine bubbles all throughout the glass, then that could be good, happy spirits, and that's the type of water that you call like the holy water or the good spiritual water for baths or to drink that. If it's all cloudy and nasty with bugs in it, then you're not going to consider that good spiritual water to drink or have a bath in, right?
Mhm.
If it's
Yeah.
collecting negative energy, it has dirt, bugs, cloudy, then it's not.
Yeah, at
Um,
the end, like me, every Friday I collect all my water and basically take a bath with it from the
mhm.
altar. Oh, I add it to my white bath.
That's what
So,
we do. Yeah,
Mauricio, you want to share a little bit of your
white
your
bath.
knowledge on secrets on white
White
baths?
bath recipe.
I just go pretty far, and Beyonce will say I'm wrong, but I do like holy water, cascarilla, coconut milk. If I can get coconut water, I would add that to it. You could put, 3 or 8 clear egg whites. That helps too in the baño blanco. Um, I did say
Oh,
cascarilla.
wait.
White flower petals.
From
Maybe
your altar.
from the altar,
Yeah.
I find it's great because it's like it's charged longer, like clean, not like disgusting. And I have in the past put like little chunks of like cocoa butter in it too.
Hmm.
And goat's milk is the best, to use always ever. Or you could use goat's milk and cow's milk. Um, Rice water works too.
Okay. Yeah, I tend to use a simple one, which is rice water, Florida water, cascarilla, and a little bit of goat's milk, and it's
Hmm.
over it. Let's go.
Exactly. You don't have to go
Sometimes in a while,
overboard.
Hmm.
yeah, when I have when I could get white flowers petals, I'll put that in there and I do it.
Hmm.
Now, ladies, rice water, just to let you know, rice water, if you have a partner, if you keep taking a shower with rice water, it'll make your man. So be careful with that.
Make your men
Um,
attracted to you.
no, it'll make your man run away if you do
Oh,
too much rice
really?
water bath. Yes,
Why is that?
it'll start arguments and stuff. Um, there's a lot of reasons, and also because it'll make other men attracted to them
Right.
too.
Yeah.
So, but if you're single, hey, take all the shower and rice water with cinnamon sticks that you want, you know. Uh,
Well,
but
we.
if you do have a man, it causes some problems and issues with them. Just letting you know, jealousy. So you
Hmm.
scare them away a lot. So
Interesting.
yeah,
That's
just letting
interesting.
you know.
We
Yeah,
also
I'll start arguments and stuff.
we could put a little bit of white rum in our white bath. That's more of a Puerto Rican
Hmm.
Sanse thing because I know they don't do that like
Or blow
with a
tobacco too, I've
bottle
heard too.
baths, etc. You know.
Yeah, there are many things like Mauricio said.
Hmm.
You can blow tobacco on it, rum, even a little bit of white wine. Depends on what you're using. If you want to use your gitana and stuff, you want to use your indio. So, another good thing that you want to keep in there too in your altar is a little bit of sage and burn sage on it once in a while to cleanse out. Because remember, the altar will pick up negative energy. It's there to
Hmm.
protect you.
Mhm.
So you also want to cleanse everything there once in a while. So.
Nice.
Hmm. Yeah, we
Makes
burn
sense.
incense all the time.
I usually just burn, like she said, incense, and I blow tobacco on my Bovida water cups and stuff, and I find that cleanses, it strengthens them, all that good stuff.
Yeah, burning cigars is a great way to get messages from your spirits too.
Mm.
Kind of like a
Do you
telephone.
guys use Do you guys use man, I forgot the name of that clear rock that you put in that boiler
Oh, the
on that
alumbre,
side of the thing?
the alumbre rock.
Alumbre, yes.
Hmm.
Alumbre, yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. And you could also put like a little drop of Florida water in each cup. Just remember you cannot drink it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um yeah, now if you want to use one of those cups to pick up a lot of negative energies, you can put a little drops of ammonia in there to make sure that it picks up muertos energies fast.
Interesting. Cool.
Interesting.
Um, Yeah, or you can burn a little bit of your azufre,
Hmm.
sulfur. Make sure you cover your nose, on your altar. But That is yes and no, because sulfur makes the spirits run away. But if you really have a negative spirit that just came through your altar, then that's one way. And like I was saying earlier, if you have a cup that just explodes out of nowhere,
Yeah.
or a candle that explodes in your
Just
altar
had
out of nowhere,
candles.
it's because it picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it picked up some negative energy.
Yeah, if it burns all black, black all the way, that's also a sign of negative energies. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I've never had a cup break ever. But
Oh, I had one last year. It busted. I mean, I was in my room and it just busted,
wow.
Wow.
you know. And what I did it was, since I had some of the cup in the some water in the busted cup still, I went ahead and did a reversal spell with that water.
Good idea.
Send it back to sender. So you know, yeah. Sometimes when you're washing them, especially if you have like I do wine cups, you get them at a dollar store. They're kind of cheap, but if you're
Right.
washing them and I have thick hands, and when I put my hands in there, I tend to break
I've
them and
had that
crack
happen
them.
before too.
That
Yeah.
yeah,
Seriously.
that doesn't count. That's no witchcraft. So, well, anyways, guys, Bree and Mauricio are in Canada. So if you guys
Hmm.
want or even you can message them, if you have any more questions or information. Um, are they free to message you, or will you
Yes,
be
they
able
can
to
Yeah,
answer
message
sure.
any
us.
questions?
If you want to tell me your page for readings and my page.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, we have readings by Ritz, and then there's
Sancista Siete Encruzilada, Seven Crossroads is my spiritual page, and I post about this. And some people ask if I mentor. I do. I don't charge for mentorship about spiritismo. The information is free, but I do paid readings, and we do streaming, free
yes.
readings once a week to every 2 weeks, so you can catch us there. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Now, is there a charge for espiritismo? For example, somebody who says, "Yeah, well, I could set up your spiritual table, but you have to pay me $3,000 for me to help you do your
No,
spiritual
No,
table."
that's
that's
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
Like, I mean, if someone's gonna travel to your house, et cetera, I think it's only polite to maybe buy them a pack of cigars,
Rum,
or a little rum or something, or
flowers,
white flowers for their spirits. I think that's appropriate. But um, in terms of
Or at
charging
least pay
people,
for the gas.
right? Yeah, feed them, whatever.
Mm,
That's very common in the culture to have that type of respect or exchange, I guess. But in terms of like charging hundreds of dollars to set up a boveda, like no, that's not. I don't think that's
it's not
appropriate
right. Yeah.
personally. In terms
Okay.
of Misa, they're generally free and open to the public, but people again bring Florida water, something, food, something,
Unless it's a private,
unless
right?
it's a private. And some people disagree with charging for private, but I personally don't have a problem with that because now it's not necessarily charity. You're focusing everything on one person or a family, and it's not open to other people to get the benefit. It's not a public Misa, right? It's for their own benefit, I guess. Unless it's a charitable case, like they really need it. And your spirits will let you know. Like your spirits will be like, you have to take this case. You cannot charge them anything. Then you have to listen to your spirits. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of like, and we use it's not like, okay, so spiritualist church, they don't use cigars, they don't use Florida water, they don't use incense necessarily. So we do have items that we need to use to make some things happen, healings, herbs,
Mm.
etc. So the materials can be purchased. And then there's the controversy over crowning someone in a spiritismo, which I do, and I do charge for, my lineage does do. But again, some of the prices I've heard can get out of control, you know. So
Like that's when they're gonna do OSHA, right? And then they crown the spirit.
yeah, I agree with you that not everybody in Ocha needs to become an espiritista, but many houses tell their godchildren you have to become crowned in espiritismo, you have to deal with your mortos first, etc., which is true, but I don't think that necessarily means a crowning. Like espiritismo is a separate tradition. It's separate at the end of the day.
Okay.
Personally, that's what I'm saying. But and another person said, which I kind of tend to agree with them, If you're a physical medium, if you get mounted or get possessed by spirits, then that's more the people that they tend to crown as a spiritista, because it gives a firmer connection or foundation for that to happen. And that's the only reason they would do it. That's what I've heard too. Other people say.
Okay.
So that's a controversial. That's a
Well,
controversial one, but yeah, that's what I think about charging. And for readings,
hmm
obviously, like I'm not going to comment on what some people want to charge, but for me, it takes me all week to do. It takes a lot of my time and my energy, my dream space, etc. I work full time, so I tell people it could take me 2 days, it could take me a week, it could take me 2 weeks to get this done for you. So I do charge for readings, whereas other people in strictly European spiritualist church, they do everything for free. So there it became a mixture, and that's why there's some difference of opinion there.
hmm
What do you think?
Me, I was doing my readings for free, but I was like, um, getting a lot of canceled appointments because,
Mm,
and I said, well, maybe if I start charging, they'll show up. And I started charging and they won't miss their appointments anymore,
yeah,
you know. But I mean, I charge cheap, $31 a reading, but my readings, like I said, include,
that is cheap.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, it,
Hmm.
it it includes Palo reading or tarot cards and it's about 45 minutes to an hour. So,
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
and I think $31, yeah, anybody can afford that.
that's really reasonable.
But I
Like,
think,
yeah, even tarot readers,
yeah,
some people charge
I,
$60 for a tarot reading. I personally think that's a lot, just for a tarot,
yeah,
but
yeah,
we can't comment on what other people want to charge. So,
yeah, that's them, But
hmm.
anyways, like I said, this guy, Bree and Mauricio are in Canada. So, what part of Canada are you in?
We're like semi West Coast, so currently in Alberta, which is right above like Idaho, Montana border.
Yeah.
But I'm from BC,
Okay,
which is like above Washington and Cali originally.
okay.
Yeah.
And you have your own YouTube page, right? I mean, people
I
could go
do. I
there
haven't
and.
updated it. I haven't updated it really that often, or my blog, but I have I have my Facebook page, and Maurizio just started a YouTube page
I
streaming,
did, yeah.
streaming for his readings, actually.
Yeah,
Okay,
which is I just called it
that's
Light
good.
Seeker.
Light Seeker.
That's it.
That's it.
Just Light Seeker. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm in the beautiful city of Houston, so Houston, Texas. And I do also have a YouTube page. It's called The Truth Mongrel.
Ooh, I
So
gotta
you
find
can.
that.
I do mostly Santa Muerte stuff in there. So
Mm.
I tend not to put, anything on Palo there because, people are a little bit anal on this. And I like to share secrets. I don't hold secrets back. If it'll help somebody, you can find spiritual baths in there. You can find love spells. You can find how to fuck up somebody in there. So, I mean, everything is in there and it's free, guys. If you guys want to try it on your own before, you give your money away, go to the page and look it out. So, anything else before we end this up? It was nice and fun talking to you
Yeah.
Yeah,
guys.
It just gives me ideas for future chat collaborations we should do.
definitely.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We don't have to agree
Okay,
about
so
everything either. We respectfully
yeah,
respectfully, see each other's art, like, opinions
And
and
points.
and
Yeah.
points, is what it is.
yeah. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, not everybody's gonna agree or be the same. There'll be people that are pissed off, say, well, they doing this the wrong way, they're doing this the right
Hmm.
way. There's many houses that's doing different. Not everything is,
Hmm.
correct. I could disagree and agree with many people, but at the end of the day, if it works for you, it works for you.
Yeah.
That's what I say. That's all it matters. You can be a great sansista and have a lot of knowledge, but if you're not making things happen, then and I come with a glass of water and I resolve for you. What's wrong about that? I want proof of, okay, this job helped.
Oh, I don't know if he froze.
I don't know what just happened. Someone tried calling them.
Um, so
Okay.
Yeah, I like
all
I
right.
like what you I like what you said about before, about like you have to be a good espiritista to be a good palero or et cetera, because you're blind. If you can't talk to the spirits, like you could throw your shells and your shells can tell you one thing, or you could know all the stories that back up those shells, but you're getting additional information coming through about what certain aspects of that to focus on or what that means. So we say in voodoo, if you don't have the knowing and you don't have the sight, then you're almost like a crippled, you're like a crippled priest almost.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Anyway.
I guess I'm gonna end it up here because my phone is down. So, Luz and Progreso, to all of you guys, any questions, feel free to contact either three of us, or all of us.
Mhm.
This video, I started a page, so it's open to anyone. You have any questions, if I could answer them. If there are any more experienced people that want to join the page, please feel free to join and help. If you can donate a little bit of your time to help those people in need.
Mhm.
And I understand a lot of people take abuse of those things, and you know when to help and when you can't. So,
Exactly.
Yep,
listen.
thank you for the new group. See you
Thank
guys
you.
later.
Okay.
See
Bye.
you guys.
See you. Bye.